Is Africa poor because of colonialism?
Resounding no. The solution to poverty is prosperity. Then who and how do we build prosperity? It's entrepreneurs, right? They always have two companies, one in Africa and one in the US. And to see that one almost took 2 years, the other one barely 20 minutes to put together.
Why is it so overregulated though?
Because once upon a time, we drank the fateful, ill-advised, dreadful, deadly ideology of socialism.
Magatte, great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, both of you.
One of the questions that has been suggested to us to ask, because we obviously ask our fans, etc., what we should talk about is colonialism and Africa. This is something you talk about a lot. Is Africa poor because of colonialism?
Resounding no. It's not. So on the other end, you have Africans and their allies, so-called allies, and for them, it's all various forms of victimhood. You know, anywhere from it's because of racism, it's because we've been colonized, it's because they're stealing our natural resources. You hear all of that, yet I don't hear anyone talking about what's the reason why we're still poor. And so, what do I mean by that? Think about it. We are talking about poverty. You asked me the question: is Africa poor today because of colonialism? You said poverty. You didn't say anything else. Poverty. What's the solution to poverty? Isn't it prosperity? It's not poverty alleviation. Like this idea that I should just be happy being a little bit less poor, that's pathetic. So the solution to poverty is prosperity. Then who and how do we build prosperity? It's entrepreneurs, right? Traditionally, any nation that you look at, it's entrepreneurs that did it. Well, what do entrepreneurs need in order to thrive? They need an enabling business environment. And we find that actually countries that offer their citizens a world-class business environment are rich. Conversely, those who offer a pretty bad, poor business environment don't thrive. And when I came to understand everything that I understand today that I'm sharing with you, I literally lost 90% of my friends. I came from the left. I used to belong to the left. I was borderline commie, if you can believe that.
Really?
Yes.
Why? Because that was what you were taught, or
because for the longest, I've always cared about people. I've always cared about people. I've always cared about the I don't know what the right word is, but maybe not the little people, but you know what I mean by that. But I've always cared about those among us who are disadvantaged, and so for the longest time, I really believed what that side was saying, what the socialists were saying. I believe that maybe it was the best chance for, disadvantaged people. I believe, and especially, and yes, back then I used to think all the things that I push back on today. I used to think that, colonialism is the reason why we were where we were. The fact that our natural resources are being, literally stolen is why we were where we are. Maybe racism, maybe, the white people just didn't want us to get somewhere. So I believed all of this for a long time. And but what I discovered is once I started running this business of mine, the first time, that's when I started to really, I saw the discrepancy between running a business back home and running a business in the US. And at first I thought to myself, well, of course, we're poor, that's why it's so hard. And conversely, they're rich, that's why it's so easy. Just to come to understand that relationship that I told you about. We're poor because we don't have enough money, at least not enough money to take care of our basic needs. Where does money come from for most of us? It's a job, right? And where do jobs come from? The private sector for the most part. And so once you understand that, and then you realize that, and for companies to be, they need a good business environment. And you realize, and here I am seeing that it's so hard for me to do business over here. That's when I was like, wait a second. So the dots started to connect. And I was like, wait a second. And so from that moment on, everything started to collide in my head. Because I was like, the people that I have been with this whole time, who were very good at, comforting me in those thoughts of victimhood in a way, they don't like business. They think business is evil.
Yeah,
they do. Is that not the weirdest thing? I find that so strange. There's a lot of it here in England. There's a lot of it here in England. They, on TV, people talk constantly about, the 1% this and the 1% that. And I'm going, they pay like a shit ton of tax for all the public services that we
right.
enjoy.
That's
And
right.
most of them, look, there's crony capitalism, of course there is.
Yeah.
But most of those people got to where they got to by providing a service to other people that those people want to pay for.
Exactly.
And yet these people hate them. I can't get my head around it.
No, and I can't either, but at some point I came to realize that there's probably nothing to understand. You know, Constantin, when I listen to these people, I saw something. And because when I started to confront them, why? Once upon a time, I believed in these ideas, and I believed in your good heart. I believed that you too were into it because you believed, like me, that we were the best chance that the global poor had. The global poor has always been my concern, because I come from a continent that's known for that, and that needs to change. So I believed that you guys cared. And now that I'm confronting you, all I hear from you is something rather ugly. Do you know what I hear from them? Envy.
Yes.
Envy. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It is immoral. It's wrong. All I could hear and all I could sense was envy. And then I realized, oh, so I was a cover-up for your disgusting, most vile sentiment. You were using me and my likes to promote your stupid ideology that in the end just goes to serve your envy. That's when, for me, the left lost their moral high ground. That's it. I was done. And and I guess they were done with me as well.